Okay, we are recording. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight, or for those listening to the recording. I'm really excited tonight to have Christa here. So she lives here in Cincinnati, which is super cool. And I got to meet her and really chat when we went to see the Rachel Hollis documentary together. And it was cool because we rode together, and hearing her share kind of her story and a little bit of how her goals with coaching, and watching her this year just hit some big milestones, and she's going to share about that. I thought it was important for y'all to hear her story. I feel like we get inspired by other people's stories because they show us what's possible and help us dream about what we want, because everyone's goals and dreams and this definition of success is different. But you got to see other people doing it and hear the how and the why, because you don't always feel like doing it. You don't always, feel like showing up, and we have seasons that get crazy. And I just love how she's been able to reach her goals. So she's going to be staying home after this year. She's retiring from working at M&D, which is super exciting. So a little bit about her. She's been coaching 3.5 years. She's a 2-star diamond coach, consistently hitting Success Club since she started coaching. She's a full-time counselor at a high school here, Mount Notre Dame, but she'll be retiring this year. And her husband's name is Dan, and she has Ellie, Eli, not Ellie, sorry. That's my son, but I mispronounced it. Eli, who's 4, and Emma, who's 2. And I'm just super excited for you to be here, and just, you guys listen in and ask questions, use the chat. I'm going to tell you this. You might think, I don't want to ask questions because it's going to sound stupid. It's not true. Other people have the question. We're reading 100 Days to Brave. Be brave. When we have a guest on here, ask them, have you ever had to navigate this? Or how, because that's why she's here. You hear me talk all the time. You get to hear someone else talk and hear their story. And my prayer is that y'all connect to a piece of it, so it stirs in you, whether it's identifying your why or helping you see your goals are possible. Because watching her, it's been really awesome. Just when you see someone, you meet them and you see them reach the goal that they shared with you a while back that they were really pushing for, it's just very exciting. So thank you for being here tonight, and I'm going to close my mouth and let you take over.
Sure. Thank you. And that was an awesome introduction. And yeah, I'm super excited to announce that, especially today, because it was the end of our end of year assembly, and they, they said goodbye to all the faculty in front of the whole school, which I'm getting chills because I forgot that they do that. I don't know why. I think I was so focused on my speech for my students today that I forgot that was going to happen at the end. And so it's so surreal, because when I started 4 years ago, I started as a challenger. I did not start as a coach right off the bat. For those of you who are posting and you feel like, maybe some days nobody's engaging with your post, or you're not getting likes and you're not getting comments, I want you to know that you're not doing it for the likes and the comments. You're doing it to inspire somebody else. And when people say you don't know who's watching, it's true. My coach is Courtney Bell, for those of you who may be familiar with her through the Team Courage upline, because we're all part of that same upline. I had no idea who she was. I literally saw a friend of mine comment on one of her like page posts back in the day when like pages were, the big thing. And I remember sitting at her kitchen table one day saying, who is this Courtney Bell girl? Who is doing these workouts in her office pregnant? What is this? And I'm going to tell you what, and Courtney and I laugh about this. My girlfriend rolled her eyes, and she was like, I don't know what that's all about. That typical thing that we always think. But in my mind, a seed had been planted, because I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought it was pretty inspiring. And I thought, you know what, she looks like she's having a good time. She looks happy. She looks confident. And that was something that I was missing. So I had no idea who Courtney was. And I watched her for 2 years, and I never once liked a post. I never once commented on anything. I was that unicorn that one day when I was ready, I reached out to her and I said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm doing 21-day fix and I'm drinking my Shakeology. And I said, sign me up. It was literally that simple. And trust me, 4 years in the business, I know it's typically not that simple. I know that's not the way it happens. But I want you to remember that when you're creating that content and adding value, and you really are inspiring people, whether or not it feels like it in the moment. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me months down the road, and they will recall a post that I made, and I'm like, hey, you never said anything at the time. And so I know it can seem like sometimes it's falling on deaf ears, but number one, I want you to know that it's not. There's people out there that need to hear your story and need what you are doing. And sometimes in our darkest moments, when we're most frustrated, when we're overwhelmed, when things seem to just be very slow, you need to remember that. And I feel like almost 4 years down the road, that's why I'm still here. And that's why I'm inching closer to my goals every day, because I didn't let the ghosts, and I didn't let the crickets, and I didn't let the no's discourage me. And I was determined. Every year I would say, I'm going to be here next year. I'm going to be here next year. And so I began as a challenger, and I started with a 21-day fix and challenge pack. I was 4 months postpartum with Eli. And I was a girl that, like, yes, I was trying to get back into my pre-pregnancy clothes, but really I was craving confidence. And I can remember being a 13-year-old girl and crying on my mom's lap in her bed, like that it was going to be swimsuit season. And that gives me the chills to even talk about, but it's true. And I think my mom handled it the best that she could at the time. But looking back, I knew that I didn't want my future children to have that same lack of confidence. And I wanted to be able to instill some beliefs in them. So it was almost like I would express these insecurities to my husband, and it really impacted many different relationships. It impacted friendships. I was catty. I was gossipy. It impacted, I wasn't married at the time. Well, I eventually was married, but when we were dating, it impacted our relationship there. I was very jealous, strictly because of that lack of confidence. And I think I kept just saying, like, when I have kids, like, I'm gonna work on it when I have kids. I have to work on it when I have kids. So for me, I wasn't strong enough. Christa 4 years ago, I will never forget her, and I will always thank her, but she was not strong enough to do it for herself. And so when Eli was born, I sprung into action. I emailed Courtney, and I started as a challenger. And you guys, again, I was one of those unicorn challengers where I opened my mind to the opportunity right off the bat. Like, this sense of community. Yes, I lived in Cincinnati, but I didn't know anybody. My husband and I are both from Buffalo, New York. And so he came up here to go to Xavier University and never went back. And so I had his college girlfriends. You guys, it was like the Xavier University volleyball team. And here I am, like this insecure girl that was introverted. If you were on here before, I said I'm super introverted. I'm super shy. And so I just didn't feel like I had that sense of community. And so that's what the challenge group did for me. It gave me community. It gave me passion. And almost instantly, I just felt this spark. And I get chills every time I talk about it. I felt this spark. And I started thinking, I can do this. And not because I was super confident yet, but I felt it coming. And if that could do that for me, who I knew the demons that I was fighting in my head, imagine what that could do for other people. And I'll tell you what, so I've always wanted to be a school counselor. I've always wanted to help people. I remember my dad saying, no, don't be a counselor, be a teacher. A counselor is going to be so emotionally draining. You don't want to do that. And I was like, no, but those are the people I want to help. And so I've always wanted to help people. But when I had my son, something shifted. Like, that purpose and that passion just shifted a little bit. And I felt that drive to be home with him. And so I don't apologize for the fact that I started as a challenger, but within a month's time, I wanted to sign on as a coach to build a business that is rooted in being my best self, helping others do the same, and could potentially be that vehicle to let me serve others and help others, but be home with my kids and do it on my time. And so my why has always been big. And I think it's important to put your blinders on. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I hear that I have to talk through this with my coaches a lot. It's okay if your why is not to leave your job. But whatever your why is, whether or not it's to pay for diapers, because mine went through paying for diapers, then paying for one in daycare, then two in daycare, then to pay off some debt we have, whatever it is, speak life over it, put it out there, and know that if you do not have a strong why, and your why is going to evolve, mine has always evolved, and I think it's really important to reevaluate that. If you do not have a strong why, when things get tough, you will lean out. And I can tell you 4 years later, the reason I am still here is because I've leaned in. I said we've lived in Cincinnati now, it'll be almost 10 years, away from all family and friends. I experienced extreme postpartum depression after I had my daughter, Emma, which I was totally floored by because, with Eli, my first, I did not work out at all. We were making like Buffalo Wild Wing trips at 11:30 at night when my husband got off second shift, and I was having like the chips and queso to myself, and I gained almost 70 pounds on my 5'3" body. And so with Emma, I was like, I'm going to have this healthy pregnancy. I worked out till I was 38 weeks. I did everything that I thought was right. And then, whoa, I was like hit by a 2x4 with this postpartum depression. And I'm going to tell you what, I think men get hit by it too. And my husband experienced some extreme personal and emotional struggles as well. Ones that rocked our marriage to the core and still continues to be something that we work through. And I'm so proud of the strides that we have made. In fact, he just made his Beachbody coach coming out post last night. So if you're not friends with me, feel free to go to my page and show him some love. But it has been a journey, and it has been so incredible to work through my own struggles. It's not always been rainbows and unicorns. It is still not. But again, I feel like that because I've leaned in and known what my why was at that stage of life, that I am still here. And so I'm going to kind of share with you some things that, again, it's not rocket science, and it's probably things that you've already heard, but my hope is that you'll hear it in a way tonight that might click, a little differently, or maybe in your season of life where you are right now, you just needed to hear that. But first, this is something that I typically do with my team prior to beginning our team call. So I want to do it with you all too for a second. I want you to take a second, and I want you to think about who you were before Beachbody. Before you pushed play for the first time, before you joined your first challenge group, before you decided to become a coach. And I think so many times we struggle in this business because we forget about that. We're so focused on looking ahead and looking at our goals and where we want to be with this business and who we want to help and how many success club points we want to have, right? That we forget about that. And you should never forget about that. I show up to every Push to Emerald call that my coach has because I always want to be humble to the fact that in my mind, I'm still an Emerald coach, or I'm still at coach rank trying to move my business forward, because that's how I'm going to continue to help people, not if I get comfortable. My business has moved much more slowly than some people. I know that. I'm at 3.5 years in and just rank advanced to 2-star diamond in April. So I know that. But that's okay, because for where I've been in my life, it saved me. Coaching did. I am confident to say that it saved my marriage, because it gave me strength and it gave me confidence that I never knew I had and needed. And so I had no more time in the day than any of you did. For those of you who work in schools, I hear a lot of times like, oh, just jump on like our mastermind during your plan bell, or jump on in your lunch, or send your invites. I'm a school counselor, so my lunch is typically with students because that's when they can see me and that's when they don't want to be in the cafeteria. So I don't have a lot of pockets throughout my day. It's the unsexy stuff. I don't watch TV. Well, I should say my husband and I have a guilty pleasure of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I can't believe I'm even saying that, but I will say it brings us together, and we just sit there and then we laugh and we're like, who are these people? But besides that, we don't watch TV. So again, like I said, that's not news, but hopefully I'm confirming with you that, it is about sacrifices. I get up in the morning, my alarm goes off at 4:45. I get my workout in, I get my personal development in. I do not check my phone until I have pushed play, until I've read at least 10 or 15 minutes of personal development. I continue to do my personal development and catch up on those national wake-up calls during while I'm getting ready in the morning, when I'm getting my makeup done, when I'm getting out of the shower, because those national wake-up calls are crucial for your business. If you're skipping over them, that is a huge mistake. And so I don't work while I'm at work, when I'm at my day job. I come home, I rush home, and I have about a half hour in between when I have to go get the kids, and I bang out a half hour of work. The kids go to bed by 8, hopefully. And I do about 2 hours of work. Now, when I was first started as a coach, I didn't. I was working an hour a day. I did that power hour, and I will never forget that because I tell my coaches, I love the new Success Club tracker. I love it. Some of my coaches get overwhelmed by the time, and I say it's not about like the time increments. Like, do what you can do, change that up if that's what works for you. But I built my business on what was called the Power of Three tracker. It was 3 ads, 3 connects, 3 follow-ups, and 3 invites. And that's what I did every day. You know, now my timing looks a little bit different because I'm creating opportunities for my team and developing like, you know, mentorship groups and things like that. But that Power of Three tracker is what pushed me forward. You don't have to do 60 invites a day. Like, we hear that a lot on the National Wake Up Call lately. And if that's what works for you, great, but you do not have to. If I told my coaches to do 60 hours a day, they'd be like, see ya, peace out. I want them to do what's comfortable for them. And I'm here to tell you that, yes, maybe my business moves a little bit more slowly than others, but I'm still here getting in closer to my goals. And it's those people that I connected with and that I began those initial invites on that Power of Three tracker because I did it 5 days a week, very consistently for so many years, that my husband's like, how are you still getting people started? And I'm like, well, because I started talking to her 2.5 years ago. And I think that's the hard part, is you have to realize that you're planting seeds and you have to be okay with the fruit of your labor not coming back to you for a long time. I was in a really rough spot in April. In fact, for a little bit, I didn't work my bit. It was actually right after I went 2-star, which is crazy because sometimes I know this about myself, so I work through it. But when big things happen, I kind of get paralyzed. After Summit, I tend to get paralyzed. After NLC, I got paralyzed. My coach invited me to attend leadership with her this last year. So I was in Vegas, I got paralyzed, but I have shortened the amount of time it happens. But I do believe that there are seasons. And so while I'm telling you to lean in when there's struggle, it doesn't mean you can't take a day off. It doesn't mean you can't take a couple days off. Just know that you need to come back for your why. But in April, I didn't work the business. As far as invites, I did a lot of team development stuff, but I didn't work the business for the most part of April. And somehow, when I started plugging in, like 9 days left, something snapped, and I was like, okay, Christa, get back to it. I ended up having my highest Success Club month in probably 2 years, but it was because I had planted those seeds, and because even though I wasn't inviting because it felt unauthentic at the moment, I was still loving on people. And that's what this is really about. What's hard for me sometimes is that initial connect, because I said I'm an introvert. So I have to get out of my own head and stop being worried about what their response is going to be. Because we put so much emotion into, are they going to answer me back? What are they going to say? Do they think I'm going to be trying to sell them something? That the start actually stops us and we don't do it. And so, you know, I think you've just got to kind of cross that bridge for yourself. And again, remind yourself all the time why you're here. I have my vision board that's sitting in front of me. And when we went to the Made for More, I was talking to Summer, and I really I had met Summer a couple of times. I met Kelly at NLC, and I had messaged them. I'm like, are you guys going to Made for More? I want to come. But I hadn't really been surrounded by them that much. And Summer said, well, you know, what are you fighting for? And I said, I want to take my son to preschool. We don't have family around. I'm not comfortable yet with a full day just for Eli and who he is. I'm just not comfortable with that yet. And I can't take him to half-day preschool as a 3-year-old because my husband works 40 minutes away. I couldn't leave my job, and I had no one to pick him up. And it pained me. And I said, next year, when he is 4, I will take him to preschool. You know what Summer said to me in true Summer fashion? Do you know what preschool? Do you know what it's named? Do you know what it looks like? Print off a picture of that actual preschool. And I can tell you what I did. And we just took his enrollment papers over the other day. And so it's just been this amazing full circle moment. And so again, I said I was kind of going to go into the things I've done. So I'm sorry. I get so off on tangents because I just get so fired up and so passionate about this. And I don't know if there's questions coming in, but if I can always, Kelly, you can either stop me or I can go at the end, and I will try to speed things up because I don't want to keep you here all night. But first and foremost, you guys, I've always been coachable. So again, Kelly can share her tricks of the trade, but I can tell you there are no tricks. There are no secrets. But I've always leaned in with my with my team is Rise Up Empire, and then there's Rock Solid, and there's Team Courage. So I've always leaned in. When Courtney's told me, you know, you need to find a success partner. You need to, if you have these goals, Emerald's your next step, and then you need to go to Diamond. You know, I didn't say, oh, that works for her and not me. I originally am from a town of one stoplight. I will say 85% probably of my organization, of my downline, are from that same exact town. I have no skills. I don't know. I just got the feature in Instagram on stories where for the hands-free, it keeps going, which I didn't have that. I don't know how to make workout videos. Like, I don't know how to use another app to make a workout video. I'm telling you guys, there's like nothing fancy about this. But I've always been curious. So when I don't know something, I go and I look it up. It's really great to go to your upline and ask that question, but I learn better by finding the answer. You can go to YouTube and type in your question and type in Beachbody after it. And so many trainings come up. The Coach Online office is an amazing resource with not only trainings, but if you go to grow your business and then go to product media and shareable media, it's all in there. And so I've always wanted to grow. I've always wanted to find that answer so that, you know, it wasn't just Courtney telling me, here, go do this. It was like I understood what I needed to do. And then I let myself try it for a little while because I wasn't afraid to switch things up either. I wasn't worried to say, okay, this isn't working, and so I'm just going to stop because it's easier for her. You know, I just don't know anybody. I would try something out. I would give it time to see what was working and then what wasn't working, and then I would tweak it accordingly. Doing this, I truly believe, helped this insecure, you know, girl who was lacking a ton of confidence develop what I consider like a leadership mentality from the beginning. And maybe not from the beginning, but I can tell you what, when I was in Courtney's groups, right before I signed up as a coach, I can remember laying in my bed with my husband watching her like meal prep video. And I don't think it was live at that point. I think it was like recorded videos. And I was like, I can say this. And I would say it in my head. Like, I can tell them all of this. I know I can do this. And so I developed that leadership mentality, and I always started thinking about my journey and who I wanted to help, and how if there was a need for me at the moment, there was probably a need for others too. And so that I felt like, number one, I would hold myself more accountable if I invited them to do that with me. And then I'm helping people in the process. So for example, like on a Saturday, if I have a 3-day refresh kit down in my basement and I'm feeling like, you know what, I probably should do a 3-day refresh, I'm not going to start it on Monday, because that is an opportunity for me to say, this is my need, and I guarantee there's others out there that need this too, and I'm going to invite them to do it. So I'll usually plan it for 2 weeks out. That gives them the opportunity to join me, because it's all about doing it together. I never want to seem like the expert. I want people to know that I can help them, but I want them to know that I want them to walk alongside of me. For example, after T20s, I truly believe like I've been in like a T20 like breakup, and I've been depressed, and I'm like, I need to go back to it. And so when I recognized that that's what I needed to go back to, I didn't set a date for, you know, I recognized this like a week ago. I didn't set a date for Monday. I set a date for the 27th. So it was like 3 weeks ago. And I spent all my time reaching out to people, asking them to do this with me, because I had done it once. I knew how it worked, and I could help them too. And the magic happens, I truly believe, when you are doing something with people. I get that we have so many programs, and I truly believe that everybody should do what works best for them. And it's really important to have those conversations and ask them their goals, and ask them, you know, where they struggle and what kind of things they like and what kinds of things they don't like, so that you're recommending that specific program to them, not just like, here, I'm going to recommend BOD to you. No, like we're recommending a program within BOD. But I do believe that there's magic in doing something together. So anytime you're doing something, invite others to join you. And what was really cool about this, and this is kind of on a tangent, but what was really cool is all 10 ladies that I got started on this to do T20 with me, we're starting on Monday, are current challengers that, yes, they bought the completion pack because I said, look, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And you're going to trust me. And I was confident because I have grown in confidence. And I said, trust me for 6 weeks. You haven't had Shakeology in 6 months. you're frustrated, you're not seeing the results that you want to see, trust me. And if not, I'll help you get your money back. But what keeps me up at night is those people that sign on that, yes, help me earn an income, because I'll never apologize for the fact that I have income goals as well that are based on helping people, because that's really freaking cool. But those are the people that I promise to help. And then when they start your challenge group and they never respond and they never show up, and you stay up at night because you're like, how could I have done something differently, when really, guys, it wasn't you, it's them. They're not really ready. It allowed me to go back to them. And yes, they had already purchased spot at some point. But because I was so passionate about it and so convicted, and I used voice message and I got on the phone, I didn't hide behind a text, not one of them said, you know what, I'm just going to borrow my mom's step and I'm just going to try, my protein shake from GNC. They were all like, okay, great, let's do this. And it has been, we haven't started yet. We actually phased it in. It was really cool. It was something that I did completely different this time. We start pushing play on Monday, but 2 weeks ago, we did a full week of just personal development. And so they started doing 10 minutes of personal development a day, drinking their water and drinking their shake. They already started drinking their shake like almost 2 weeks ago. That was the first week. The second week, I gave them a meal plan. So we continued with personal development. We continued with our water. We continued with our shake. And then we started meal prepping and meal planning. So we took it baby steps, because these are the people that got so overwhelmed in the first place, they never started. So we haven't even pushed play yet. And they're 2 weeks into Shakeology and they're feeling great and they're saying affirmations and they're saying I am statements and we're writing letters to ourselves. So think about where you are in your journey and what you need and how you can extend in others to have them join you. And then last but not least, I've just always stayed consistent. I truly believe if you are all in, you will see success. And all in does not mean all in with all of your time. It means all in with belief. And knowing that that person you were before Beachbody, you should be really proud of her. But look at who you are today and know that somebody else is craving that and somebody else wants that so badly. And I do believe that by sharing your journey, sharing your story, and by inviting and connecting, you guys, it's that stuff that we all hear and we're like, I promise you, there is nothing different that I do. There are no secrets. In fact, connecting, like I said, is the hardest thing for me because I feel so awkward all the time and I'm just such an introvert. But if I didn't connect, when I look at my team call, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know you. I didn't know you. I had no clue who you are. Like, none of my family has joined me. My mom drinks Shakeology. She's a discount coach. My sisters haven't. My brothers haven't. My best friends have not. None of my best friends have joined me. Not one. But it's those acquaintances or those people that I didn't even really know, but that I added. I tell them, I was like, you were a connect on my list at some point, but because I wanted to sit next to you at Summit and because I could see doing life with you, and those friendships have added so much value and so much meaning to my life. And so when you're worried about, again, what that other person's going to say, and if they're going to think you're just trying to sell them, know in your heart that you're looking for somebody to do this with. And I think when you do that, you will be sitting here 3.5 years later, closer to your goals. And sometimes it takes a little longer, but know that you are in exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment, at this time. I know there's a reason why I'm here and why my business maybe didn't fly like I first thought it was going to fly. But I've created some amazing community on our team that I am really proud of. And I know that maybe that girl that signed up with me after 6 months, who has wanted to be diamond for 3 years and she's not there yet, but she shows up every single day and fights. That's more important to me than that quick success. It's the heart, it's the passion and the drive. And when you create a team like that, when you surround yourself with people like that, it is going to happen. There's just no way that it can't. So that's all I got.
So good. I was writing all over my planner. I was because you said, that was just so good. Number one, y'all, she's an introvert. and she just like brought fire and encouragement and heart and passion. And I think we've all had, so that just shows stepping out of your comfort zone. But I just wanted to, there are a few questions, but two things I said that I love how you said, number one, like you identified with like, yes, we all had like weight loss and health goals, but it was confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So like, the pain point because the real heart of your struggle. And I think when we tap into that, then like I'm even learning that now, almost 6 years later, how to communicate that more clearly. Like that's really powerful. So when y'all reflect on who you were before, think of that too, not just I had this much weight to lose, or I was, like it's got me thinking, and then the other, I love how you said that like you felt that spark, I can do this. And even though you weren't super confident, you felt it coming. And so like we all have that, and then you have to just keep walking towards it. So I like how that just really struck me, because I think a lot of times we get stuck in the, I want it, what do I do? And like you said, like stuck in the start,
Yeah.
That was so good. Yeah, I was like writing notes everywhere. 2 people asked questions. If you could speak to these, it would be awesome. So one of my coaches asked, like, she's concerned with her why being big enough, and she feels like it's a stumbling block.
So like maybe the why, are you thinking that your why is not big enough? Is that what you're, okay. So we have this conversation on our team all the time. And I always tell people, stop apologizing for it, because you're hearing other people's whys and you're thinking now your why is not powerful enough. I have some really powerful women on my team that are like, I think often compare themselves because I'm very vocal about my passion. And I think it's very easy as women, especially, to feel insecure about that and think, well, I don't want, she said, I don't want to leave my job. And I said, you don't have to want to leave your job. But what is it? Doesn't, your why doesn't even have to be financial. Again, think about that person. Think about who you were before. And yeah, your why, I do think, okay. So everybody says your why should make you jump out of bed in the morning. And I'm going to go to my like college counselor mindset that like, everybody thinks you're going to get on that first college and you're going to like fall in love. And I don't think that always happens. And I still think that even though my why is super strong, there's mornings when I just don't want to do the stuff. But that's when that discipline and having a vision further out is going to come into play. And so if you haven't done a vision board, I think it's important, because I think that, yes, your why is one thing, but your vision board that contains your dreams, that's when you look at there and, like Rachel Hollis says, like your dreams, what she said, your dreams or goals or goals are just dreams with work boots on, or something like that. I think it's okay to set these smaller goals that then get you closer to your why. Like sometimes I think that overall why can paralyze you, right? And so if you can say, okay, so kind of like setting SMART goals, like here is my ultimate goal and here are my action steps. And so last week with my team, for example, they were struggling to help anybody get started this month. And I said, okay, so let's not think about Success Club. Let's not think about helping 3 people. Let's focus on helping one person by next Friday. And that was like last Wednesday. Let's focus on one person. And so I think breaking it down and really looking at all aspects of your life, not just that financial piece. I think a lot of times we get stuck on that. There is a lot more to my why than coming home to my kids, but that was obviously my big driving force. But like I said, I'm very confident that this community saved me in a lot of ways, and saved my marriage and helped both my husband and I get happy and healthy, body and mind. And so my why is also that I don't want to go back to that. Like, I just don't want to go back. And so my why is looking forward and how can I move forward?
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. She said, thank you. Like, I think of that, when I first started, my why was like, I just wanted to help people find comfort in their skin, because I finally had. Mm-hmm. And it developed that I wanted to bring my husband home on the weekends because he was working, multiple jobs. And then it was like little baby steps until I finally had the courage to say, I want to make enough for you to go back to teaching and to be able, which is the big one. But when I get overwhelmed by it, I love how you said that. It helps me to set, I'm going to pay for a family vacation this summer, or I'm going to pay for a date night, or I'm going to like small wins, because if I only look at the long term, I do get overwhelmed because it takes time. So I love how you like the benchmarks and the vision board.
And if you're reading Rachel Hollis, Girl Stop Apologizing, she talks about it. This is the letter that I'm having my challengers write to themselves. She talks about how like we don't recognize what we've really done well and what we are doing well every single day, whether or not that is literally just getting out of bed. You accomplish that. I think it's like, honestly, I think it's like page like 35, 36, 37. We were just talking about it, but it is really truly about like focusing on what you've done so well.
So good. Yeah, that's actually, well, I just borrowed the book from Elizabeth, so it's like on my countertop to read next.
Can I ask a question about what you just said, Christa? Hi, I'm Sarah. We tried writing a letter, having our challengers write a letter to themselves, a little different last month. And as with anything, you get 20% of people who will do it. How do you handle that? Do you just hound, for lack of a better word, people until they do it? Or you just like, this is what we're doing, and if they do it, great, and if they don't, they're lost?
Yeah, if they do it, great. If they don't, they don't. I also know that a lot of people just thought about it, and they thought about it in their head, and they just couldn't get there maybe mentally. So I think that's a big mindset thing, whether or not it was like, number one, maybe they did think about it and then just didn't put it to paper because, mom life or whatever. And
right.
But number two, I think sometimes that's where those insecurities come, right? And so they can't get over that. What I love to do is I usually on Mondays is a lighter day for my actual like inviting, connecting, because that's the day that I reach out to all my coaches and challengers. Not every Monday I'm usually talking to most coaches, but I like to send some type of personal development clip, like a YouTube clip of some sort, because I think if they're not doing it, a lot of times it just means they might not be completely on their journey. And if you're seeing, it could be like if you're seeing them push play and they're posting their sweaty selfie, but they didn't do this, okay, they're at least on their journey. But for me, what I'm finding when people don't do it, it's like they're not even working out. They're not drinking the Shakeology. They're not eating clean. And so I just continue to love on them. I have people that if you go to my messenger, like even my challengers, my Monday messages are just there over and over and over again, and they still don't answer. But eventually they will. And then usually it's just because they weren't in that right mindset. So I just keep letting them know I'm there. And usually for those people, my messages are like that. Like, hey, I know life gets I've just been thinking about you, and I want you to know that I'm always here to help you. And that's all.
That's really good.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
One of our coaches asked, like, do you ever feel like the goal of Diamond was so huge after hitting Emerald? Like, how do you help coach it? Like, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, for sure. So my story is I didn't hit Emerald in my business for a couple months. So, like everybody says, Emerald is a decision. You can go Emerald in 24 hours. I didn't hit Emerald for a while. I did sign my husband up pretty quickly, but thought my parents would thought my mom would laugh at me. I wasn't interested in going that route, like a family member. And so it was really looking for that other person who was going to want to coach. And she was a discount coach. And after that, it did seem like it was very far off. And I think, again, we always say like, oh, I just need to find somebody who wants to build a business. I just need to find a business builder. And Summer actually said to me at dinner, when we went to dinner that night, you create business builders, right? Like you inspire them. And so it did feel like it was far off, but I knew that if I was on my own journey, sharing my journey, right? Like sharing my actual story, sharing more about who I was, and really truly doing the vital behaviors and connecting with new people and actually really inviting people, it would come. And yeah, you can't control what other people are going to do in your organization. And there were times that I felt like that, but I also knew that I had the drive. And I also knew that if I kept going and if I was here in a year and really was consistent, like not just saying I'm doing my tracker, but really doing my tracker, it would happen. And I would inspire people to join me. And I had to be patient and remember that I watched Courtney for 2 years. I watched her for 2 years and I never said a thing. And so I think about that. And I actually remind my coaches about that too. Like, how long did you ghost me for? How many crickets did you send me? I mean, I don't know if any of you were somebody who ghosted your coach for a while, but think about that. It's like if I would have taken that personally, I wouldn't have moved forward. And I will say that that's something that's like on my heart probably the most, is helping my coaches reach their goals. And so I know what that can feel like. And I'm constantly like, moving, right now my goal is diamond in my second business center. And it's been, 2 months. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to be diamond by now. But you just have to keep going forward. And I know that's not like the best advice, but I promise you, if you kind of connect back to the why, and then again, maybe this is where you think about, okay, well, what do I need in my journey, and how can I invite others to help them in their life join me? Because really, I believe that for coaches to need to move forward with you and to really want to run with it, I think you have to change their life first. Mm-hmm. They have to see a change.
Yeah, like I love that. And I love that because, I mean, how many of us, show of hands, signed up to sign just for the discount? Like most of us, a lot of us, not all of us, but we signed up. I did. I was like, I will never sell anything. I said, I might like help 1 or 2 people to cover my costs, but that was just to make me feel better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I mean, I was, like you said, inspired to be a business builder by my story. One other question we have, I don't want to keep you too much longer. Thank you for the time. But when you invite to coaching, do you explain that this is work and there are gifts beyond finances? Like, how do you share the coaching opportunity?
Yeah. So I do post pretty regularly about the coaching opportunity. I try not to, have it be the thing that spams all over the place on my feed. I like people to be able to connect to me more. And I'm just like you, like if I post something about like my kids and like Eli running around without his underwear or something like that, like I get 90 likes and 90 comments. And then I post about the coach opportunity and like Courtney Bell likes it, so like I get it. But I really do reach out to, number one, my Rockstar Challengers, people who are showing up all the time. And I have a list of dream teamers, or a coach quest that I call it. And these are the people that I'm continuously reaching out to. And I do believe that if I can get them to say yes to one of my sneak peeks, that they may not sign up right after the fact, but that seed is planted a little deeper. We've been doing lately, and it's been working really well. We do live Zoom calls just like this. So it's myself, and then I have 3 of my coaches. We usually rotate, or sometimes I do it with my success partners. And we tackle objections. So we each have like a main objection that we talk about. And then, so like when I do it with my coaches, they share their story, the 3 of them. But in between, I weave in the things like how to earn an income, what we do as coaches, what a day in a life looks like. And yeah, I do. I explain that it's work. I tell them, I'm very open about the fact that, I told you I probably work, roughly, well, right now during school hours, I work probably 2 hours a day on the weekend, but I work on the weekends and things like that. But when I first started building my business, if you're intentional with your time and you stop your scrolling and you stop overthinking things, you can really get your vital behaviors done in an hour, because I did it. But it takes being intentional with your time. And so I do share that it's work. I share that, depending on what their goals are, that work is going to adjust accordingly. It's not going to look different for everybody, or not going to look the same for everybody. And I share that there's no requirements. I share that it's like what you want, and that what my goal is to support you in what you want. So I have coaches, like I said, our community is very strong. And I have coaches who rock it, and then lean out. And I still love on them. And then they come back and they rock it. I don't get a lot of coach cancellations, because I think it's just that community. They've often said, like, I appreciate the fact that this isn't about rank. It's not about Success Club. And I think that that's at the heart of this. When you can really focus on people, the rest is going to come. And I remember my coach used to tell me, they're people, not points. Don't focus on the points. Don't focus on the points. And I was like, yeah, right. That's because you're doing it all the time. And I'm having to like work for every single one. Like, funny you should say that. But it's true. If you can switch your mindset, if you can really change that mindset, it's so important.
Yeah, for sure. Elizabeth had that this past month. She's like, I'm not going to worry about Success Club. I just want to help one person. And then she like helped like 10 in like 2 days. Because the pressure came off and she could enjoy it. We were like, what the heck? That's awesome.
I get like when I have my coaches say, oh gosh, well, I just helped with BOD. And I'm like, you helped her. Like, that's so awesome. It's not like, and I know as a company, you know, Success Club is important for moving your business forward, and it is a benchmark for sure. But it's like, just help people. You never know when they're going to come back and want to try a 3-day refresh or Shakeology. Like, you helped them and you inspired them. So never be, you know, it's just bad.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, thank you. Do y'all have any other questions?
Sarah, are you an M&D family? Sarah Kroger, are you M&D?
No, we don't live in Cincinnati anymore.
Oh, I was going to say, you look familiar.
Oh, I used to live in Cincinnati.
Oh, you did?
I grew up in Cincinnati, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Still not MND, but I did grow up in Cincinnati.
Oh, cool.
She was just at my house today.
Oh.
On her way home.
I couldn't get enough of Kelly Brown, so I had to come back.
Never.
Well, thank you so much. This was awesome. So many nuggets. Like I said, I have 2 pages of notes. And I feel like, I mean, what I love about this is even almost I'll be 6 years in July. I'm still learning. Like, I still listen.
Always be curious.
And I'm like, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot that. Oh, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why being on these calls is so powerful and important to me, like to get surrounded. And so thank you for being with us tonight. I know this is going to help who's here, but also who listens. And we can close in prayer if that's okay. And I'm just excited for you. Like, I'm really excited for you. Like, that's just, I don't know. I get really pumped when people reach like a big,
yeah, thank you.
You know what I mean? That's super, super exciting. And I love how you shared about walking him to preschool, because yeah, that's like, if you have a goal like that, do exactly what she says. Like, get a picture. Like, I mean, I visualized our car and I printed it and I put it on my computer every day. Like, it really helped me to like focus on the thing, you know what I mean? And, and so, yeah, so let's close in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this evening, God. I just thank you for Christa and her story and her truth and the light that she is. And I just pray for her and her team, Lord, that you would bless them. And I'm just so grateful that you have guided her to this place to be such a light and a leader that can speak truth into our lives tonight. I pray for her family as they transition to this awesome change of her being home, and for her students and the teachers as she leaves. And just, I know how she's blessed those kids, Lord. And I just pray tonight that the seeds she's planted in us, that you would water them, Lord, that you would help us to be open to being stretched and to growing into our goals and to being open to where you're calling us to be in this business. I pray for our challengers, our coaches, those that will be joining our team. And I'm just so thankful for this whole opportunity and all that it's done for all of us and the way it's changed our lives. Help us to see that and to remember that if we've forgotten, Lord, and help us to have grateful hearts as we go out and invite others to have an opportunity for their life to change, and to not apologize for the blessing that it is, but to have confidence in the way that you have blessed us. And we pray all of these things in your holy name. Amen. Thank you so much. This was so good. So good. And I'm so excited. Maybe we can like get together at some point.
Yes.
The craziness of all the kids.
Well, mine are crazy enough for all of us. So, I mean,
awesome.
yes, they'll get along great together.
That'd be awesome. All right.
All right. Bye. Thanks, guys.